Admiral Jiwan Park stood at the observation deck of Earth's largest orbital station and watched the alien ships approach. 15 years had passed since humanity first met the Galactic Council. 15 years of being treated like children. 15 years of insults and restrictions. Today was supposed to be different. Today, Dr. Hana Kim would ask the Council to recognize humanity as equals. Jiwan did not feel hopeful. The Valtheron ships were massive, each one larger than 3 human carriers combined. They moved with grace through space, their hulls shimmering with energy shields that humanity could barely understand. The lead ship docked with the station, and moments later, the alien delegation entered the meeting hall. High Curator Rixval was tall, nearly 8 feet, with silver skin that reflected the station lights. His eyes were completely black, and when he looked at the humans gathered to greet him, his expression showed only contempt. Behind him walked 6 other Valtherons, all carrying themselves with the same arrogance. "Primitives," Rixval said as greeting. His voice was translated by a device that made it sound cold and mechanical. "We have come for the annual inspection of your cage." Dr. Hana Kim stepped forward. She was a small woman, but she held her head high. As Earth's chief diplomat and xenobiologist, she had dealt with Valtheron insults many times before. "High Curator, we welcome you to our station. We hope today we can discuss—" "There is nothing to discuss," Rixval interrupted. "You will show us your military installations. You will prove you have not violated the restrictions. You will obey." Captain Do Yun Lee, standing beside Jiwan, clenched his fists. The young tactical officer had lost his sister when the Valtherons had destroyed a human research station 5 years ago, claiming it was too close to their territory. The aliens had never apologized. They had called it a necessary correction. The inspection took 3 hours. The Valtherons walked through the station, scanning everything with their advanced devices. They laughed at human technology. They mocked the weapons. One Valtheron pointed at the station's defensive railguns and said they were barely better than throwing rocks. Engineer Yuna Choi watched from the engineering deck, her jaw tight with anger. She had designed many of the station's systems. She knew humanity's technology was not as advanced as the aliens, but it was not primitive either. The Valtherons refused to see that. When the inspection ended, everyone gathered in the main conference room. This was the moment Hana had been waiting for. She activated a holographic display showing Earth's achievements over the past 15 years. New faster-than-light drives, colonies on 12 moons and planets in the solar system, medical advances, scientific discoveries. "High Curator," Hana began, her voice steady, "humanity has proven itself capable and peaceful. We have followed every restriction placed upon us. We have not expanded beyond our solar system as ordered. We have shared our research freely with the Council. We now formally request to be recognized as a Category A species with full rights to travel and trade throughout the galaxy." The Valtherons looked at each other and began to laugh. It was not polite laughter. It was the sound of beings who found something genuinely amusing. Rixval laughed the loudest, his head tilted back. "Category A?" he said between laughs. "You think you deserve equality with us? You primitives who only discovered faster-than-light travel 15 years ago? We have traveled the stars for 10,000 years. Your species is barely out of the cave." "We are not primitives," Hana said, her voice harder now. "We are a civilization of 8 billion people. We have art, culture, science." "You have nothing of value," Rixval said, his laughter stopping suddenly. "Your art is crude. Your science is laughable. Your weapons are toys. You are savages playing at civilization, and we allow you to exist only because the Council finds it amusing to watch you struggle." Jiwan stepped forward. "High Curator, we are asking for basic respect." "Respect?" Rixval's black eyes focused on Jiwan. "You want respect? Here is the truth, Admiral. Your species contributes nothing to the galaxy. You consume resources. You pollute trade routes. You are lucky we do not exterminate you like the pest species you are. Instead, we are generous. We allow you to live in your small corner of space. That is more respect than you deserve." The room fell silent. Every human present felt the weight of the insult. These aliens who had visited Earth with promises of friendship 15 years ago now spoke of humanity as if they were insects. Hana tried one more time. "Hi, Curator, we only ask—" "You ask for nothing," Rixval said. "You obey. That is the natural order, the strong rule. The weak submit. You are weak. Now, this inspection is complete. We will return next year. Try not to embarrass yourselves further." The Valtherons left the conference room. Jiwon and Hana looked at each other, both feeling the bitter taste of failure. 2 days later, everything changed. Jiwon was in her quarters when the emergency alert sounded. She rushed to the command center, where Captain Do-hyun was already reviewing the reports. His face was pale. "What happened?" Jiwon demanded. "3 mining outposts in the asteroid belt," Do-hyun said quietly. "The Valtherons destroyed them, completely. All 3. Jiwon felt her blood turn cold. "How many people?" 37,000 colonists. Men, women, children, all dead. The screens showed the remains of the outposts. Nothing was left but debris and frozen bodies floating in space. The Valtherons had used their main weapons, vaporizing the stations in seconds. A message arrived from the Galactic Council. It was brief. The outposts had been polluting Valtheron trade routes. The destruction was necessary enforcement of galactic law. Humanity was warned to stay within proper boundaries or face further correction. There was no apology, no offer of compensation, no acknowledgement that 37,000 human beings had just been murdered. Jiwon read the message 3 times. Then she called an emergency meeting with Earth's united government. The meeting lasted 6 hours. Every military commander, every government leader, every scientist of importance participated. The debate was intense. Some argued for continued peace. Some argued for formal protest. Some argued for withdrawing from all contact with the Galactic Council. Engineer Yuna Choi argued for something else. "We have been preparing," she said quietly, "in secret. For 5 years, since the research station was destroyed. We have been studying every piece of Valtheron technology we could salvage. We have been building weapons, ships. We knew this day would come." The room erupted in questions. Yuna explained everything. The hidden shipyards in the outer solar system. The new weapons based on modified alien technology. The 450 warships waiting in the darkness beyond Neptune. "Can we win?" the president of Earth asked. "I do not know," Yuna answered honestly, "but I know we can fight. And I know that if we do nothing, they will keep killing us whenever they wish." The vote was called. It was not unanimous, but it was clear. Earth's united government authorized military action. The message was sent to Admiral Jiwon Park. "You have full authorization to defend humanity by any means necessary." Jiwon stood on the bridge of the flagship Indomitable and looked at her crew. Captain Do-hyun was at tactical. Engineer Yuna was at the weapons console. Around them, 449 other warships waited for orders. "All ships," Jiwon said, into the communication system. "This is Admiral Park. For 15 years we have been caged. We have been insulted. We have been murdered. Today, we show the galaxy who we really are. Today, we declare that humanity will not be slaves. Today, we go to war." The fleet began to move, disappearing into faster-than-light travel, heading toward the first Valtheron military station. The war had begun. The fleet traveled in silence through the darkness between stars. Inside the flagship, Indomitable, Admiral Jiwon Park reviewed the battle plans for the 100th time. They were about to attack the Valtheron military station at Kepler 442, a system 20 light-years from Earth. It would be humanity's first real battle against an alien civilization. The odds were not good. "Admiral, may I speak freely?" Captain Do-hyun Lee asked from his tactical station. "Always," Jiwon replied. "We are attacking a fortress station defended by at least 30 heavy cruisers. Our intelligence says each of those cruisers has shields and weapons far beyond what we possess. Even with 450 ships, we might all die today." "I know," Jiwon said, "but we will die fighting, not begging. That is the difference between us and what the Valtherons think we are." Below decks, Engineer Yuna Choi was making final adjustments to the Hellstorm weapon systems. These were modified railguns, much more powerful than anything humanity had built before. She had designed them using principles learned from studying salvaged Valtheron technology. The weapons could fire small projectiles at 15% of light speed. When those projectiles hit something, the kinetic energy alone would tear through almost any material. The question was whether they could penetrate Valtheron shields. "How are the weapons looking?" Dr. Minji Quan asked, entering the engineering bay. The quantum physicist had barely slept in 3 days. She had discovered something important about Valtheron shield technology, and she wanted to make sure everyone understood it. "Ready," Yuna said. "But ready does not mean they will work." "They will work," Minji said confidently. She pulled up a holographic display showing Valtheron shield frequencies. "I have analyzed every scan we have of their shields. They operate on a rotating frequency cycle. The shield is incredibly strong, but it has to recharge every few seconds. For 0.3 seconds, the shield drops completely before reactivating." "0.3 seconds?" Yuna asked. "That is barely any time at all." "It is enough," Minji said. "If we time our shots perfectly, if we fire in coordinated volleys, we can hit them during those gaps. Their shields will not protect them." Yuna looked at the calculations. She ran them through her own computers. Slowly, she began to smile. This could work. This could actually work. In another section of the ship, Colonel Taeyang Shin was giving final instructions to his Marines. 3,000 soldiers sat in the briefing room, all wearing combat armor designed for space warfare. They had trained for 2 years in secret for this moment. "Listen carefully," Taeyang said. "The Valtherons have superior technology, but they have one weakness. They have not fought a real war in over 1,000 years. They have grown soft. They rely completely on their shields and energy weapons. They have forgotten how to fight hand-to-hand." He activated a hologram showing the interior of a Valtheron ship. "We will board their vessels using breaching pods. Once inside, we fight in close quarters where their weapons are less effective. We use speed, aggression, and surprise. The aliens have never faced an enemy who will get close and bloody. We will show them what humanity does when we are angry." Private Minho Jong listened carefully. He was young, only 22, but he had volunteered immediately when the call went out. His entire family had died in the mining outposts. He would never forget the images of his mother's body frozen in space. Today was for them. On the bridge, Captain Sora Han contacted Jiwon from her stealth reconnaissance ship. Sora commanded a wing of 12 small vessels equipped with cloaking technology humanity had developed independently. The Valtherons did not know these ships existed. "Admiral, we are in position," Sora reported. "We have mapped the entire Valtheron defense grid. I am sending you the coordinates now." The tactical display updated, showing the exact position of every Valtheron ship and weapon platform around the station. Jiwon studied the layout. The Valtherons had positioned their cruisers in a standard defensive formation, spread evenly around the station. It was a formation designed to protect against other civilized species who fought at long range with energy weapons. It was not designed to stop what humanity was about to do. "Thank you, Captain Han," Jiwon said. "Maintain position and be ready to provide targeting data." Lieutenant Nari Song, the tactical analyst, was running final calculations on her computer. She had been given the task of coordinating the timing of every shot the fleet would fire. If Minji's theory about the shield gaps was correct, then timing was everything. Fire too early or too late, and the shields would stop the projectiles. Fire at exactly the right moment, and the Valtherons would be defenseless. "Admiral," Nari said, "I have calculated the firing patterns. Every ship will fire in sequence with 0.25 seconds between volleys. This will ensure we hit during multiple shield recharge cycles. The computers are ready to coordinate across the entire fleet." "Excellent work, Lieutenant," Jiwon said. The fleet dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the Kepler 442 system. Immediately, alarms sounded on the Valtheron station. The aliens had detected the human ships. A communication channel opened. The Valtheron commander appeared on the screen. He looked surprised, then amused. "Human ships," the alien said. "You have violated Council territory. Turn back immediately or be destroyed." Jiwon stood tall, looking directly into the camera. "We are here to deliver a message. Humanity will no longer accept your tyranny." Withdraw your forces from our space, pay reparations for the colonists you murdered, or face the consequences. The Valtheron commander laughed. Foolish savages, you dare threaten us with your primitive toys? We have 30 heavy cruisers and a fortress station. You have small ships with weak weapons. This will not be a battle. This will be an execution. Witness your extinction. The Valtheron fleet began to advance, their shields glowing brightly with power. They moved with complete confidence, not even bothering to take defensive positions. They believed the humans would run or die quickly. They were wrong. All ships, Jiwan commanded, charge weapons. Prepare to fire on my mark. Across the human fleet, the Hellstorm railguns powered up, magnetic coils charged with enormous energy, projectiles loaded into firing chambers. Targeting computers locked onto Valtheron vessels using the data from Captain Sora's reconnaissance. Lieutenant Nari's hands moved across her console, synchronizing every ship's weapons to fire at the precise moments she had calculated. The timing had to be perfect. Valtherons at optimal range, Dohyun reported. Their shields are active. Jiwan watched the Valtheron cruisers approach. They were close now, almost close enough to fire their energy weapons. The aliens still had not taken them seriously. They thought this would be easy. All ships, Jiwan said calmly, fire. The space around the human fleet lit up as 450 ships fired their railguns simultaneously. Thousands of projectiles streaked through space at incredible speed, invisible to the naked eye. The Valtherons activated their shields to maximum power, confident they would stop any attack. Then the first volley hit. Minji's calculations were perfect. Nari's timing was exact. The projectiles struck during the shield recharge gaps, passing through as if the shields did not exist. 3 Valtheron cruisers exploded instantly, their hulls torn apart by the kinetic impacts. The Valtheron commander's amused expression vanished, replaced by shock. Impossible, he breathed. Second volley, fire, Jiwan ordered. Again the railguns fired. Again the timing was perfect. 5 more Valtheron cruisers were destroyed before their shields could protect them. The aliens began to scatter, breaking formation in panic. Third volley, fire. Commander Hyunwoo Nam led his fighter squadrons forward. 200 small, fast ships dodged between the larger vessels. Too quick for the Valtheron targeting systems to track. The fighters deployed proximity mines, crippling the engines of several cruisers. All ships, advance, Jiwan commanded, close to boarding range. The Indomitable fired its main guns in rotating patterns, exactly as Nari had programmed. Each shot hit during a shield gap. The flagship's weapons were powerful, and with the shields unable to protect them, the Valtheron ships were vulnerable. Colonel Taoyang watched from the marine deck as his breaching pods launched. The small armored capsules shot across space, slamming into the hulls of crippled Valtheron cruisers. Cutting torches activated, burning through the alien metal. Private Minho was in the first pod to breach. The capsule cut through the hull and opened. He and 11 other Marines rushed into the Valtheron ship. The aliens inside were tall and strong, but they had no idea how to fight at close range. They fired energy weapons wildly, hitting their own ship's systems. The humans moved with practiced efficiency, their rifles firing controlled bursts. The battle for the Kepler 442 system had begun, and humanity was winning. Private Minho Jong moved through the Valtheron ship's corridors with his squad. The interior was strange, with ceilings too high for humans and air that smelled like metal and chemicals. Emergency lights flashed red, and somewhere in the distance alarms screamed. Contact ahead, his squad leader whispered through the helmet radio. 4 Valtherons appeared around a corner. They were tall and silver-skinned, wearing what looked like ceremonial armor rather than combat gear. When they saw the humans, they raised their energy weapons and fired. The shots went wild, hitting the walls and ceiling. The Valtherons had clearly never fought inside a ship before. They were used to battles fought at long range in space, where computers did most of the aiming. Minho and his squad returned fire with controlled bursts. Their bullets struck true. The Valtherons fell, their advanced armor doing little against solid projectiles at close range. The aliens had designed their protection against energy weapons, not kinetic rounds. Keep moving, the squad leader ordered. We need to reach the engine room. Behind them, more Marines poured through the breach. Colonel Taiyang Shin coordinated the assault from a command pod attached to the outside of the Valtheron ship. His tactical display showed 23 different boarding actions happening simultaneously across the crippled alien vessels. Deck by deck, room by room, Taiyang said into the command channel. Clear them out. Show no mercy. Remember the 37,000. The Marines fought with determination born from anger and grief. Every soldier had lost someone to Valtheron cruelty. This was payback. On the bridge of the Indomitable, Captain Doyen Lee watched the tactical display with satisfaction. The battle was going better than anyone had dared to hope. Of the 30 Valtheron cruisers that had started the fight, only 8 remained operational. The others were either destroyed completely or crippled and being boarded by human Marines. The fortress station is charging its main weapon, Lieutenant Narisong reported. It is targeting us. Evasive maneuvers, Admiral Jiwan Park ordered calmly. All ships, concentrate fire on that station. I want it gone. The human fleet turned as one, their railguns targeting the massive orbital fortress. The station was larger than any ship, with shields even stronger than the cruisers. But Minji's calculations worked just as well on the station as they had on the ships. The first coordinated volley struck the station's shields during their recharge gap. Massive chunks of armor tore away. The second volley hit deeper, punching through to internal systems. The third volley reached something critical. The fortress station exploded in a ball of white fire that lit up the entire system. Commander Hyunwoo Nam pulled his fighter into a tight turn, avoiding the expanding debris field. His squadron had lost 12 fighters so far, but they had disabled 6 Valtheron cruisers in return. Now they were hunting the last few enemy ships trying to escape. Wing 3, target that cruiser heading for the jump point, Hyunwoo ordered. Do not let it get away. I do not want them warning the rest of their fleet what happened here. 20 fighters accelerated after the fleeing Valtheron ship. They deployed their remaining proximity mines in its path. The cruiser, desperate to escape, flew directly into the minefield. Explosions tore through its engines. The ship went dark, drifting helplessly. Boarding pods incoming, one of the pilots reported. Hyunwoo watched as Marines launched toward the disabled cruiser. There would be no survivors to carry tales back to the Valtheron homeworld. Not yet. Humanity would control when the galaxy learned what had happened here. Inside the Valtheron cruiser, Private Minho and his squad reached the engine room. 3 alien engineers stood at the controls, trying desperately to restart the damaged systems. They turned when the humans entered, their black eyes wide with fear. One of them spoke, his translation device making his words sound strange. Please, we are not soldiers. We surrender. Minho hesitated. He had come here expecting to fight, not to take prisoners. He thought about his family, floating frozen in space because these aliens thought human lives did not matter. On your knees, he said finally. Hands behind your heads. The Valtherons obeyed. Minho's squad leader called for a detention team. They would take prisoners, but only because humanity was better than the Valtherons. Humanity would show mercy even to those who had shown them none. 3 hours after the battle began, it was over. Admiral Jiwan stood on the bridge and looked at the final casualty reports. 4 human ships had been destroyed. 2,300 soldiers and crew had died. It was a heavy price, but it could have been so much worse. The Valtherons had lost 28 cruisers and their fortress station. Hundreds of thousands of aliens were dead. The 2 surviving cruisers had surrendered when they realized escape was impossible. What do we do with the prisoners? Do-hyun asked. We treat them according to the laws of war, Jiwan said. We give them medical care, food, and shelter. We do not torture them. We do not murder them. We are not like them. Engineer Yuna Choi arrived on the bridge, her uniform stained with hydraulic fluid from repairing battle damage. She looked exhausted but pleased. The Hellstorm systems performed beyond expectations, she reported. We can modify the design to be even more effective. If we get the chance to build more ships, the next generation will be twice as deadly. Good, Jiwan said. Because this was just the first battle. When the Galactic Council learns what happened here, they will send everything they have to destroy us. She turned to the communications officer. Open a broadcast on all Galactic Council frequencies. Maximum power. I want every civilized species in the galaxy to hear this. The officer worked quickly. After a moment, he nodded. Channel open, Admiral. You are broadcasting to the entire galaxy. Ji-won took a deep breath. What she said next would determine humanity's future. They had crossed a line by attacking the Valthorans. There was no going back now. They could only go forward. This is Admiral Ji-won Park of the Earth Unified Defense Fleet, she began, her voice strong and clear. Today, humanity has fought its first battle against the Galactic Council. We were attacked. We were insulted. We were murdered. 37,000 of our people were killed without warning, without mercy, without justice. She paused, letting her words echo across the galaxy. The Valtheron Empire called us savages. They called us primitives. They said we were barely better than animals. Today we proved them wrong. The Valtheron military station at Kepler 442 is destroyed. 28 heavy cruisers are gone. We did this with the technology they mocked, with the weapons they called toys, with the courage they did not believe we possessed. On worlds across the galaxy, billions of beings listened in shock. Many species had heard the Valtherons speak of the humans with contempt. Now those same humans had destroyed a Valtheron fortress. We are not savages, Ji-won continued. We are humanity. We are scientists and artists, farmers and engineers, teachers and soldiers. We are a species that values freedom, justice, and the dignity of all life. We asked the Galactic Council for equality. We asked for respect. We asked for peace. They gave us insults and death. Her voice grew harder. So now we give them war. We will fight until the galaxy recognizes us as equals. We will fight until the strong can no longer bully the weak. We will fight until every species, large or small, advanced or developing, has a voice in galactic affairs. We will fight until the arrogant learn humility and the cruel learn mercy. She looked directly into the camera. We are humanity. We will not be caged. We will not be slaves. We will not surrender. And we will not stop until justice is done. The broadcast ended. In the silence that followed, Do-yun spoke quietly. Admiral, you just declared war on the most powerful empire in the galaxy. No, Ji-won corrected. They declared war on us when they murdered our people. I just made sure everyone knows we will fight back. Across the fleet, exhausted humans began repairs and tended to wounded. They had won their first battle, but everyone knew this was just the beginning. The Galactic Council would respond with overwhelming force. More battles would come. More humans would die. But something had changed. Humanity had shown the galaxy that they could fight. That they would fight. That being technologically superior did not mean being invincible. The age of easy conquest was over. The Valtherons and their allies would learn a hard lesson. Humans might have been late to the stars, but they brought with them something the galaxy had forgotten. The will to fight for freedom, no matter the cost. The war spread like fire across the galaxy. Within 3 days of the battle at Kepler 442, the Galactic Council convened an emergency session. The Valtheron Empire demanded immediate action. They wanted humanity crushed completely, their leaders executed, their homeworld occupied. The Council agreed. They assembled a war fleet of 2,000 ships from 7 different species. The fleet began moving toward Earth's solar system with orders to force humanity's complete surrender. But humanity was not waiting passively. Ambassador June Park stood in a small conference room on a secret station in neutral space. Across from her sat 3 alien delegates representing species that most of the galaxy had forgotten about. Species that the Galactic Council classified as Category C primitives, just like humanity. The first delegate was from the Chitauri, an insectoid species with 6 limbs and compound eyes. The second represented the Nereids, aquatic beings who breathed water and communicated through color changes in their skin. The third was a Kralix, a silicon-based life form that looked like living crystal. All 3 had suffered under council rule for centuries. You have seen what happened at Kepler 442, June said, showing them recordings of the battle. Humanity fought back. We won. And we did it with technology the Council called primitive. The Chitauri delegate clicked its mandibles thoughtfully. Its translation device rendered the clicks into words. The Council has oppressed my people for 300 years. They take our resources. They limit our expansion. They treat us like we are nothing, but they are powerful. You won one battle. Can you win a war? Alone? Maybe not, June admitted. But together we have a chance. The Nereid delegate's skin flashed blue and green, indicating skepticism. What do humans offer us? Why should we risk our worlds for your fight? Because it is your fight too, June said. The Council will never give any of us equality. They will keep us contained, keep us weak, keep us dependent on their mercy. We can accept that, or we can stand together and demand our freedom. The Kralix delegate chimed, a sound like bells ringing. Freedom is worth fighting for. My people have long memories. We remember when we were free before the Council came. But we are few. What can we offer in a war? Everything you can give, June said. Ships, soldiers, resources, knowledge. Humanity does not ask any species to fight beyond their means. But if we coordinate our efforts, if we share our strengths, we can challenge the Council's dominance. The three delegates looked at each other. Then, one by one, they agreed. The Free Worlds Alliance was born. While June negotiated with potential allies, Captain Sung-Ho Bai was fighting a different kind of war. He commanded a squadron of stealth ships, and his mission was to disrupt Valtheron supply lines. Sung-Ho's ship, the Shadow, moved silently through space near a major Valtheron trade route. His crew had been watching for 3 days, mapping the patterns of cargo vessels moving between Valtheron colonies. Contact, his sensor officer reported. Large cargo ship, minimal escort, carrying refined metals and energy cells according to our scans. Perfect, Sung-Ho said. Prepare boarding teams. The Shadow and her sister ships approached the cargo vessel using their cloaking technology. The Valtherons had no idea the human ships were there until breaching pods slammed into their hull. Marines stormed through the ship. The small Valtheron security force surrendered quickly. Within 20 minutes, the humans controlled the cargo ship and were transferring its valuable supplies to their own vessels. Set the ship adrift, Sung-Ho ordered. Leave the crew alive with enough supplies to reach the nearest station. We are not murderers. This was the 10th cargo vessel Sung-Ho's squadron had captured in 2 weeks. Each successful raid supplied humanity's war effort and denied resources to the Valtherons. More importantly, it forced the aliens to divert military ships to protect their trade routes, ships that could not be used to attack Earth. On a human colony world, orbiting Proxima Centauri, Dr. Rai-Hyun Kong worked in a field hospital that had been set up to treat wounded from the growing number of battles. The war was expanding faster than anyone had predicted. Skirmishes were happening in dozens of systems. Rai-Hyun moved between beds, treating humans and now aliens too. The Free Worlds Alliance meant that Chitauri, Nereid, and Kralix wounded were arriving alongside human casualties. The work was exhausting, but necessary. Doctor, a nurse called. We have incoming wounded from the battle at Ross 128, 30 critical cases. Rai-Hyun prepared the surgical bay. More young people who would be scarred by this war. She believed in the fight for freedom, but the cost in lives weighed heavily on her. The wounded arrived. Rai-Hyun went to work using all her skill to save as many as she could. This was her war contribution. Others fought with guns and ships. She fought with medicine and determination. At a secret research facility hidden in Saturn's rings, engineer Yuna Choi examined a captured Valtheron dreadnought. It had been disabled during a raid and towed back to human space. Now it was being taken apart piece by piece, its technology studied and copied. This power core is incredible, Yuna said to her team. It generates 3 times the energy of our best reactors, but it is half the size. Can we replicate it? Her assistant asked. Not exactly, Yuna said. We do not have the manufacturing capability yet. But we can build something similar, a hybrid design using Valtheron principles and human engineering. It will not be as good as theirs, but it will be better than what we have now. She pulled up design schematics on her holographic display. We can retrofit our existing ships with these new power cores, and the next generation of human vessels will be equipped with weapons that combine our railgun technology with their energy weapons. We will build ships that are better than either of our civilizations could build alone. The work continued around the clock. Humanity was learning, adapting, improving. Every battle provided new data. Every captured ship revealed more secrets. The technological gap was closing, but the war was taking its toll. Admiral Jiwan received reports daily of new battles, new casualties, new colonies under threat. The Galactic Council's war fleet was still advancing toward Earth. It would arrive in 2 months. When it did, humanity would face its greatest test. We cannot defeat 2,000 ships in direct combat, Captain Doyun said during a strategic planning session. Even with our allies, even with our new weapons, we are outnumbered. Then we do not fight them in direct combat, Jiwan said. We fought the first battle on our terms, using tactics they did not expect. We will do the same with the main fleet. She pulled up star charts showing the route the Council fleet was taking toward Earth. They are taking the most direct path, traveling through 7 systems between here and there. In each system we can harass them, slow them down, make them bleed. By the time they reach Earth, they will be tired, damaged, and afraid. Hit-and-run attacks, Do-hyun said, understanding. We never give them the battle they want. Exactly. And while we wear down their fleet, we prepare a defense of Earth that will turn the solar system into a death trap for anyone who tries to take it. The plan was risky, but it was the best chance they had. Over the next month, humanity and its allies fought a dozen smaller battles. They won some, lost others. The Valtherons proved they were not helpless. Their technology was still superior in many ways, but the humans were learning, adapting, improving with every fight. The Free Worlds Alliance grew. 2 more species joined, bringing their own fleets and resources. The Council, which had seemed unbreakable, was facing internal divisions as member species questioned whether this war was necessary. Meanwhile, Colonel Taeyang Shin was training a new generation of Marines. Thousands of volunteers arrived daily, wanting to fight for humanity's freedom. Taeyang taught them everything he had learned: how to fight in zero gravity, how to breach alien ships, how to survive when outnumbered and outgunned. Remember, he told each new class, we do not have the best technology. We do not have the most ships. But we have something the Valtherons lost long ago. We have the will to fight for what we believe in. We have the courage to face impossible odds. We have each other. That makes us unbeatable. As the Council's war fleet drew closer to Earth, humanity prepared for the fight of their lives. The defense grid around Earth grew stronger each day. New ships joined the fleet. Allies positioned their forces to help. And deep in her command center, Admiral Jiwon Park planned the battle that would decide humanity's fate. The Galactic Council's war fleet arrived at the Valtheron homeworld system with 5,000 ships, the largest military force assembled in 1,000 years. They came to end the war quickly and brutally by attacking the heart of the Valtheron Empire and daring humanity to defend it. They did not expect humanity to be waiting for them. Admiral Jiwon Park stood on the bridge of the Indomitable, watching the tactical display as the Council fleet dropped out of faster-than-light travel. Around her flagship, the combined forces of the Free Worlds Alliance waited. 400 human ships, 300 Chitauri vessels, 200 Nereid craft, and 150 Kralix warships. Outnumbered nearly 5-1. They think we are defending the Valtheron homeworld, Captain Do-Yun Lee said. They do not understand we are here to attack it. Jiwon smiled grimly. The Valtherons had become humanity's enemy, but in war, enemies could become useful tools. By threatening the Valtheron homeworld, humanity had forced the Council to bring their entire fleet to one location. Now they would fight one decisive battle instead of many small ones. All ships, Jiwon broadcast to the Allied fleet, this is our moment. Today we show the galaxy that freedom cannot be defeated by numbers alone. Today we fight not just for humanity, but for every species the Council has oppressed. Today we make history. The Council fleet began to advance, their formations perfect and precise. They had fought this way for centuries against civilized opponents who played by the same rules. Energy weapons at long range, shields to protect, overwhelming firepower. They were not prepared for what humanity had learned. Launch fighters, Ji-won commanded. Commander Hyunwoo Nam led 3,000 small craft forward. They were a mixed force of human, Chitauri, and Kralix fighters, all equipped with the new EMP missiles that Dr. Minji Kwan had designed specifically to overload Valtheron shield generators. The fighters moved in coordinated swarms, too many targets for the Council ships to track efficiently. As they closed to attack range, they unleashed their missiles in waves. Thousands of EMP warheads struck the Council fleet's shields. The electromagnetic pulses did not penetrate the shields, but they disrupted them, causing feedback through the systems. Shield generators began overheating. Power fluctuated. Gaps appeared in the defensive barriers. Main fleet, advance, Ji-won ordered. Target ships with failing shields. The Allied fleet surged forward. The human ships unleashed their Hellstorm railguns, now improved with hybrid Valtheron human technology. The projectiles flew faster and hit harder than ever before. Ships with compromised shields were torn apart. The Chitauri vessels used swarm tactics, dozens of small ships overwhelming single large targets. The Nereids deployed weapons that released clouds of corrosive particles, eating through exposed hull metal. The Kralix fired focused energy beams that could pierce through damaged sections. The Council fleet, built around the assumption of technological superiority, found itself fighting enemies who refused to follow the expected patterns. Captain Do-hyun coordinated the Indomitable's weapons with precision. The flagship had been upgraded with captured Valtheron energy cannons alongside its railguns. It could fight at any range, switching between weapon types to exploit enemy weaknesses. Council flagship identified, Lieutenant Nari Song reported. It is the Dreadnought Universal Truth. High Curator Rixval is commanding their fleet personally. Perfect, Ji-won said. All ships, target that Dreadnought. I want Rixval captured alive. Colonel Taeyang Shin prepared his boarding teams. This would be the largest marine action of the war. 2,000 soldiers in 100 breaching pods, all aimed at a single massive ship. Remember your training, Taeyang told his Marines over the command channel. The ship will be chaos. Their crew will be panicking. Use that fear, move fast, hit hard, and bring me that curator. The breaching pods launched as the Allied fleet concentrated fire on the Universal Truth. The Dreadnought's shields flickered under the combined assault. When they finally failed, the pods struck home. Private Min Ho-jong was in the first wave again. He had survived every battle so far, earning decorations for bravery. But this was different. This was the enemy flagship. This was the center of Valtheron power. His pod breached the Dreadnought's hull. He and his squad rushed into a corridor filled with smoke and emergency lighting. Valtheron crew members fled before them, unarmed and terrified. Heading for the command deck, Minho reported. Resistance is minimal. The truth was, the Valtherons had never imagined enemy soldiers inside their flagship. Their security forces were designed to handle internal threats, not trained Marines in combat armor. Taeyang's forces swept through the ship, deck by deck. They encountered the Valtheron elite guards outside the command center, soldiers in powered armor similar to what the Marines wore. The firefight was intense, but the humans had superior tactics and training. The command deck doors blew open. Taeyang himself led the final assault, his rifle raised. High Curator Rixval stood at the command console, his silver skin pale, his black eyes wide with disbelief. Around him, his bridge crew raised their hands in surrender. You, Rixval said, looking at Taeyang, you savages. You cannot do this. You cannot win. We already have, Taeyang said. He gestured, and Marines moved forward to secure the prisoners. High Curator Rixval, you are under arrest for war crimes against humanity and allied species. Outside, the battle was turning. The Council fleet was breaking apart. Ships were surrendering or fleeing. Without their flagship and commander, their coordination collapsed. Admiral Jiwan broadcast across all frequencies. Attention Council Fleet, your commander has been captured. Your flagship is ours. You have two choices, surrender now or be destroyed. You have 5 minutes to decide. The response came quickly. Ship after ship transmitted surrender codes. Within 30 minutes, 3,000 vessels had given up. The others fled toward the jump points, running for their lives. Captain Sorahan's stealth ships pursued the fleeing vessels, but Jiwan called them back. Let them go. Let them carry the message of what happened here. The battle was over. Humanity and the Free Worlds Alliance had won. The cost had been high. 600 Allied ships were destroyed. 40,000 soldiers and crew had died. But they had defeated the largest fleet the Galactic Council could assemble. 3 days later, the Galactic Council convened in emergency session. With the Valtheron Empire defeated and their fleet captured, the balance of power in the galaxy had shifted forever. Dr. Hana Kim, who had endured insults and rejection, now stood before the Council as humanity's representative. Beside her stood ambassadors from the Chitauri, Nereids, and Kralix, along with representatives from 5 other species who had joined the Free Worlds Alliance. The war is over, Hana announced. These are our terms. First, all species currently classified as Category C will be granted full equal status immediately. Second, the Valtheron Empire will pay reparations for the colonies they destroyed and the lives they took. Third, every species will have an equal vote in council decisions. Fourth, those responsible for war crimes will face trial. Fifth, humanity and the Free Worlds Alliance will have permanent seats on the council. The council delegates looked at each other. They had no choice. Their military power was broken. Their authority was shattered. One by one, they agreed to every term. Ambassador June Park negotiated the details of the new galactic order. The old category system was abolished. The Free Worlds Alliance was recognized as a sovereign entity. Trade routes opened. Technology sharing began. Admiral Jiwan stood on the observation deck of the Indomitable and watched Earth come into view. The fleet was coming home. Not to a planet cowering in fear, but to a world that had fought for its freedom and won. Engineer Yuna Choi and Dr. Minji Kwan were already working on civilian applications of the hybrid technology developed during the war. What had been created for battle would now help humanity explore the galaxy in peace. Colonel Taiyang Shin attended memorial services for the fallen. Private Min Ho-jung stood beside him, one of thousands who had survived the war but would carry its scars forever. Dr. Rei-hyun Kang returned to civilian medical work, hoping she would never have to treat combat wounds again. In a secure prison facility, High Curator Rixval sat alone in his cell. Ambassador Hana Kim visited him once, wanting to see the being who had called humanity savages. "How did you do it?" Rixval asked quietly. "How did primitives defeat us?" Hana looked at him with calm eyes. "We were never primitives. We were never savages. We were just a species you never bothered to understand. You judged us by our technology and ignored our courage. You saw our kindness as weakness. You mistook our patience for cowardice. Those were your mistakes, not ours." She turned to leave, then paused. "You called us lucky that you allowed us to exist. The truth is, you were lucky we gave you mercy. We could have destroyed your homeworld. We could have done to you what you did to our colonies. But we chose to be better than you. That is the difference between humans and Valtherons." Rixval had no response. Hana left him there to think about what his arrogance had cost his empire. Across the galaxy, the age of oppression was ending. Species that had lived in fear for centuries now had hope. The strong could no longer bully the weak without consequence. Every civilization, regardless of how long they had traveled the stars, had an equal voice. Humanity's flag flew on stations throughout the galaxy, alongside the banners of the Free Worlds Alliance. Earth's explorers and scientists went forth to learn and share knowledge. Human artists and teachers spread throughout space, contributing to galactic culture. The galaxy had learned its lesson. It had learned that wisdom does not always come with age, that courage can defeat technology, and that those who fight for freedom will always find a way to win. Humanity had demanded respect and equality. When denied, they had taken it by force. Now they worked to ensure no species would ever again have to make that choice. The savages had taught the galaxy what true civilization meant,